Hi guys, my name is Jenny Okoye, and it is my utmost pleasure and privilege to welcome you and introduce you to content writing as put together by Kenbus today. Kenbus has gone ahead to do a great job bringing all of you together to bring, different aspects of soft skills that you may be needing in today's time. And it is just my own privilege to ensure that I'm able to share with you what content writing is about, introduce to you what content writing is, give you just a little bit of insight into what content writing is. Because this is an introduction, I'm coming from an assumption that no, you have zero to very little idea of what content writing is all about. So I'll do my best to be as rudimentary as possible. I really wish that I could make it there and be there with you all physically today, but circumstances did not allow. So, again, welcome to an introduction to content writing. I am Jenny Okoye Akinkosote, but some people call me Joker. Now, to start with, here we go. I'm a master and I am not afraid of it. So, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to pick up a pen and a paper or take your notepad, type into your phone or your tab and write out 10 sentences that you think best describes this event that you're currently at. Make sure that your writing can inspire 1,000 other students to attend Kenbus training. So perhaps this training or the next one, I want you to be able to craft 10 sentences that you think best describes this event. Now I'm going to ask the organizers to pause the video at this point and give you some time. Okay, now that you've been able to do that, let's go on into the meat of today's work. Keep your 10 sentences, keep that writing. Maybe at the end of this video, we'll look back on it and we'll be able to shed some light and say some things about it. Perhaps it'll change, perhaps it'll stay the same. We'll know if you have a future in content writing with how much you're able to do with this knowledge. Content writing is really the process of planning, writing, and editing web content. As you can see from my image, thank you, pixabay.com. I have Facebook, LinkedIn, Dig, WordPress, Pinterest, Reddit, Skype, Instagram, Vimeo, Twitter, Google, YouTube. For some of you, it's TikTok these days. There's a lot of social sites that you can, put your writing on or that you can find writing on. Some of the things you don't even think about. Writing is all about it. Google, anything that has to do with the internet. When we talk about content writing, not just writing now, but particularly content writing, we're talking about digital marketing and we're talking about, planning and writing and putting together words that can be web content. It can include writing blog posts, articles, those writings you see when you type on a website, for example, frenikin.com.ng. Whatever you see on the website, all of those stories and writings that you see on different people's websites, all of that is as a result of content writing. Also, if you have to, produce a video or a podcast like this one, you need a script to ensure that your content is, well done and it fits into what we call SEOs, or you want to develop content for specific platforms. For example, some people do threads on Twitter. They don't just do threads, they do content writing first. They're able to write out everything that they want to talk about and then post on all of these sites. So basically, that's what content writing is. It's just you planning and writing and finally editing content that has to go on the website. Okay, don't mind my pizza picture. I love food. And then I just use this, pizza picture to describe to you, you have different flavors and varieties. There are too many things you can do with pizza. That is what content writing is like. There's so many varieties that you can get out of content writing. You can do content planning, content strategy, development, content writing, content creation, editing, marketing, management, technical writing, and copywriting. Some of these may sound so out of place. They are words that you've heard, like, don't they all mean the same thing? When you get to a place where specialization is important, some of these have differences. But as a beginner or for someone who works in an environment where everybody does everything, some of these specializations are not particularly spelled out. So But these are the variations you can encounter when it comes to content writing. Now, what problems does content writing solve? This is a particular question I like to ask. If there's anything you're trying to get into, be it digital marketing or, website development or graphic design or UI UX, if you're going into anything, what problems can that field, that new skill you're trying to learn, what problems can it solve? In the regard of content writing, it gives you something to market. It gives you something, it gives you um for lack of a better word, content. It gives you things that you can put out there for people to know that, oh, this is what you're doing, this is what you're about, these are the goods you have, these are the products this person is trying to sell, these are the services this person is trying to offer. It also helps with SEO. SEO is a word that will come up more often, and in today's times, SEO is always in the conversation when it comes to content writing or content development. SEO means search engine optimization. I did not put it in full because I did not want it to be something that you would overly bother about right now, seeing as we're just talking about introduction. Okay, so content writing also solves the problem of establishing your brand or establishing the brand of any business. It can also help you reach new people. People like gist, people like content, people like juicy stuff. You go on several blog sites, Linda KG, Indani TV, some of these YouTube channels that you watch, or places that you just go for entertainment and gist and catch up. You enjoy good content. Who no like better thing? Who no wants to be better thing? That's what it is. Everybody enjoys good content. It could be a story, it could be guides, maybe writing on how to use a particular tool, anything. Content can inspire and educate you. So everybody wants to delve into something good that would be beneficial to them. And content is also something that people would share and engage. That video you saw that made you laugh, you shared it with your classmates, you sent it to somebody you felt, oh, this person needs to see this and laugh, this person needs to see this and learn. And when you share content, it will get to new people and it will increase, the is this actor that put it up. It is for an example of Jonade Adekola that put it up, you know. And it will also expand the reach of the person, the audience. For example, what's up Ibadan? You just or connect Ibadan. You get to know them because of the content that they put up. This is where SEO comes in. All of the things that have to do with content writing. These are the problems it solves. It just gives you access to new people, people that you can just and talk to. Also, well-written content that targets, keywords, that's SEO. It will reach new people. So when they Google a particular word, such content will come up in their feed. Okay. So here I said that writing is the foundation for any content that you see. All of the signboards you see, the billboards you see on the streets of Ibadan, maybe at Molete or Iwo Road, and you see, oh, techno, somebody is swimming in water, and then they wrote something, or all of it is content, and all of this have writing as a foundation, whether it's a YouTube video or movie, whether it is emails that you get. For those of you who have email addresses, it could be even the keynote speech that the organizer of Kenbus said when he first started. He wrote it down. Social media posts, titles of a podcast, white papers are explanatory, in-depth explanations of um particular subject titles or fields. All of this, web pages, landing pages, like I had explained earlier, YouTube, even YouTube video descriptions, those things they write down, beneath the title of the YouTube video to tell you where you can find other things in the video, blah blah blah. Or product descriptions when you want to buy a new shoe and they say white size 48 mil something something. All of that is writing. Ebooks, everything it is writing. All of what we see around us, calendars, magazines, e-copies of everything, anything you see has writing as its foundation. So what industries use content writing? With everything that I've said so far, I want you to write out at least five industries that you think content writers can work. Five industries, companies they can work for, how they can work for them. Take your time and write five industries that content writers can work at. Now, what skills do you need for content development or content writing? The very first one is your use of language, how you speak, how you spell, how you use your grammar, the style of writing. For me, what I always tell, my trainees or people that come to me and say, oh, they want to get started on this writing journey, is when you're chatting with someone, all those LOLs and LMAOs and, um, BRBs, write in full. Start writing in full. When you're writing to people, when you're chatting with people, write in full. This is where you start to master, your use of language. It's a really critical skill when it comes to content writing. Another one is communication. How can you say, oh, this is what I want to talk about? But how would people understand what you want to say? Because it's not just about you talking, it's about people understanding what you're saying. So this can be determined by the kind of audience. Are you talking to people aged 40 to 80? Or are you talking to kids aged 5 to 10? It will determine how you will talk, obviously. And I'm sure you can connect and relate with that. Another key important detail is discipline. My dear, you need discipline. It is so important that you're disciplined to be able to meet deadlines, because when you start in the work of content writing, when you begin to, take on tasks or take on roles or begin to write for companies, you need to work on your discipline. You need to be able to deliver what we call deliverables. You need to be able to deliver per time, because these are businesses that are run on schedules. They are spending money, they are paying you to write. You have to be able to deliver on time. So even when you feel like, oh, I have writer's block, oh, I don't have inspiration, especially for, people who are used to creative writing. Maybe you write stories, you write poems, you need inspiration for that kind of writing. But for content development, you cannot afford to say, I don't have inspiration. No, no. This is where people come up with templates, when they have a lot of inspiration. You come up with templates, samples, you keep reading content that other people are churning out and writing, so that you can, always be in the groove of, if they say write 10,000 words right now, between now and tomorrow morning, you're set, you have everything, you're able to write it out. Okay. Another key skill you need is research. You have to be able to find and verify credible details, not tell lies. You can't just form some data in your head and say, oh, this is what it means. No. Good research is important for content writing. It is important, very important. You have to be able to research and not get lost in, you're researching something and before you know it, you're discovering some other stuff. This is something that some people encounter. Another one is problem solving. Every Practically any skill you're learning involves problem solving. Writers are not outside of that box. Everybody needs to know, problem solving, because it will come up several times. Adaptability means you're able to be resilient and just keep working. You can work with anybody, you can work on different projects at the same time, and your focus is your focus, your focus on your focus. Last but not least, of skills that I can talk about today is flexibility. You're able to write like a soldier today and write like a businessman tomorrow, and next tomorrow you're able to write like a teenager. That's flexibility. I was saying here that if you enjoy acting, if you enjoy playing different roles, you enjoy play acting, or you know being a different person with your friends or acting on stage, this is a very good, in fact, you are prime for content development. All right, so these are the skills you need for content development. I'll go over them again: your use of language, effective communication, discipline, research, problem solving, adaptability, and flexibility. Now, to get started on content writing, three things are what I specified here. But honestly, it's this first one that is the cocoa. This is the major thing. Right. Just right. For some people, we say that it takes 10,000 hours to get, exceptionally proficient at anything. So if you need 10,000 hours to get perfect, just start writing. Keep writing. Let nothing stop you. You can start by, having your blog or creating a page that talks about any issue you're passionate about, and you just determine that every day I'm going to write something, be it short, be it long. I'm just going to write something about this topic every single day. Or you want to start with every single week, or you want to start with every month, but just make sure that you're writing. You keep writing, keep writing. If you like, you can also write fiction. I mentioned that creative writers, are in this mix. So just write, 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 write. The next thing on getting started is gain experience. You would know a lot of the issues that, once you're through with school or you're trying to get a job, is that you cannot get a job if you don't have experience. But you need a job to even get experience. So build yourself a portfolio of work, give yourself tasks to do. Say that, oh, okay, maybe you see a brand that they are doing something, and just look at it. How can I write for this brand that will help them? How can I write an ad or a blog post for this brand and it will help them? And just write it down. You don't have to send it to them. It doesn't have to be that they commissioned you or paid you, but write it down and then keep saving a portfolio of your work in a way that you never get it missing. Last thing is to find your niche. Your niche is something that, like I said, you're in an environment sometimes where you write everything for everybody. But if you're finding your niche, what you're doing is that you're boggling down on just one particular aspect, and you're particular about that aspect, and you're, writing on either you can decide that, oh, I'm only going to be doing social media posts, or you can decide that I'm only going to be writing on Bitcoin. Those are different ways to niche your writing, but these are just ways, when we talk about getting started. As for the actual writing itself, some people say that, when you want to write, you research first, then you plan how you want to write, and then you write. But for me, the way I work, so this is my own, um how would I put it? This is my own secret, so to say. This is my secret ingredient. I plan first. I structure how I want to write my blog post, my fiction, my non-fiction, everything, even ebooks, resource materials. I structure first. What do I want to write about? How do I want to section it? Sometimes when I have, tasks that say, oh, you have to write 15,000 words, I start writing. This subtopic would be 1,500 words. Under each one, I'll write a paragraph on this. It will be 300 words, like that, before I now begin my research. That way, my research is guided, and then I now write. Okay. Now, for the more technical stuff that you may find on the path of writing, I mentioned that this is only an introduction. So, some of the things that you may hear, as you go on, I'm not delving into them. I'm just going to mention them so that you know that you're not out of place when you begin to hear these things, or you begin to realize that you need to do more research. Formatting, or copy editing, or copywriting. Business goals, buyer persona, which talks about the audience you're writing to, search intent, keyword research and SEO. I mentioned SEO would keep coming up, content strategy, and then topic research. So these are the more technical stuff that I'm not going to delve into today, but I just want you to familiarize yourself with these words and know that it's all part of content writing and it's not outside of the scope of things. Now, here are some resources that I feel that, can be important to you while you're writing. The first one is Grammarly, can help with your grammar, use of words. But if you want to get the premium version, you pay for it. And, it could be pretty expensive, especially if you're not getting paid to write right now. Another one is Google Docs. I use Google Docs to structure. Sometimes I use it for voice to text. There's so many things you can do with Google Docs if you just allow yourself, stay with it. Another one is a dictionary. I love Merriam-Webster because I was exposed to it when I was a really little kid. I used to read the dictionary, so Merriam-Webster was my go-to best friend. Another one is Jotapad. It's a software or an app on your phone that you can use to take notes or even write full books. So there are other, resources like that you can use to write, on your phone or device. Another thing that is a resource that I count as a resource are munchies. I like to munch sometimes when I'm writing. If it will not, especially sound in my head, which is why chocolate is like really good because it doesn't make noise. I don't have to make any noise, and my brain, can still work. So those are resources that I think can be useful to you. Finally, if you have any questions, I have shared this link and the organizers will definitely be sharing this link with you. Please know that you have to have an email address so that I'll be able to respond to your questions. I'd really love to chat with you. So please ensure that you're able to create an email address for yourself so that you can send in your questions. Again, I'd like to say shout out to pixabay.com. Thank you, Pixabay. That is where I got all the pictures that I used for this PowerPoint slide today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here today. You go be awesome.